Hey everyone, this is Elias from RevMatch Media, and today we're going to be taking a look at the 2022 Mitsubishi Outlander. Now, I know this isn't an Evo, but let's just say it definitely has some Evo feels to it. Well, let's go ahead and get started. We get started in the front and we can see this is actually a really unique looking SUV. A couple of things. The headlight design. So it's got kind of that faux headlights. What I mean by that is this looks like the headlight when in reality this is really the headlight, and it's an LED system. It looks really good. I love the design. The light output is really nice as well. We also have this kind of chrome trim that comes around, kind of framing that a little bit. Looks nice. I like the way that it looks. Then we have, again, kind of that faux design aspect to it. We have the top part here. That's not really the grille, where usually we have this, nice little Mitsubishi design there. But this is actually the grille down here. We have the front facing camera to help with the 360 degree camera system. But yeah, overall, I really like this design. Now, the gray color is nice, but honestly, for a bold design like this, a louder color would have been nicer. But let's go ahead and see what we have under this hood. We get under the hood and we have the 2.5 liter inline 4 cranking out 181 horsepower and 181 pound-feet of torque. It is connected to the 8-speed CVT and then to the s-awc. Yeah, so let's break that down. So 4 cylinders, no turbo, so naturally aspirated. It feels like it needs a turbo. It really does. It actually behaves like it has a turbo because the power really doesn't feel like it kicks in to the high RPM range. Yeah, that was probably its biggest downfall on this, and I was surprised because honestly I thought it had a turbo the way that it was behaving. Now, that's off the line. But highway, yeah, this thing has kind of the reverse of the Miata effect, meaning that you feel like you're going fast, but you're really not. With this, it's the opposite. You don't feel like you're going fast, but you look down and you're kind of going a bit fast. And that's because the suspension and all this works really well to give you a smooth ride, especially the fact that it's a little on the quiet side as far as the cabin goes. But yeah, so I wish it had a turbo to give it that little bit more oomph on the low end. The transmission, the CVT, so it is 8 speeds, but it does the simulated speeds, which is good. I like it. I hate when we have like in my Versa that has literally, it's like one of the first CVT transmissions where you floor it all the way and it just hangs on the red line. It's annoying. It's not what you really want to have. So I'm glad that this has the simulated shifting on it. Then we get to the s-awc, the super all-wheel control. Yeah, it's their fancy, it's a different way for marketing to say it's an all-wheel drive system, but it actually performs really, really good. So you could call it whatever you want, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, but just make it work as well as you did with this, and you get the free pass of acronyms. So yeah, it was really good. Mileage was actually really good as well. I was able to, in the city, I was able to beat the reported and get 30 miles an hour. So yeah, this was impressive. Oh, and there is a plug-in hybrid version of this. Yeah, that's probably where I'd go. Because if this was really good in the sense of fuel saving, and if you're looking for something economical, then you're definitely gonna save a ton of money with that plug-in hybrid. But yeah, I really like the power distribution was really where it's at. The transmission, I wish it had like the Toyota, where the first gear was like the mechanical gear and then it went into the CVT, because I think that's where this really suffers, and really where any CVT suffers is the low end or the launch aspect of things. But yeah, this was pretty good. Let's go ahead and see what we have in those wheels and tires. We get down to the wheel and tire package and we have a big 20-inch wheel design, and it is wrapped in the 225/45 Bridgestone tire. Now, this has been a fairly good design. I don't know, it's it does nothing for me really, besides having the kind of polished face and then the black inserts on there. Yeah, not really excited about that wheel design, but the performance though is a different story. The tires, the feel of this, the suspension in this, the brakes, everything here is exceptional. So if it means that it's going to perform well because it looks this way, fine, I love it. It's the best design in the world. But this is really good with how it feels and really how it performs. Very quiet. Even in this gravel kind of road, it was extremely comfortable with the suspension, with the wheels, with the tires. Everything works really well. Power distribution from that 4-cylinder is really good. So I am really surprised and I love this setup. Well, let's go ahead and see what we have on the side. We take a look at the side, and yeah, it's actually a fairly sized SUV. They call it a CUV, but no, it's pushing it towards more towards an SUV size. Now, let's take a look at a couple of things. The front, we do like that kind of design of that faux headlight kind of peeking through there. Again, the nice big wheels and tires that perform really good. We have a nice little plastic design cue here. I guess it breaks up the big sea of gray, so to speak, with this. One thing I really like about this is the fenders. So the fenders have kind of like a punched in or like a design indent right in there that creates that line for your eyes to really enjoy. I love that. And speaking about line, yeah, we can see this whole line going down the side of it and then just kind of falling off to the back. I love it. It looks really good. It really, like I said, it changes the look of this SUV by just having that little design cue. We also have the roof rails up here if you need to attach any items to the top. And yeah, it's a fairly nice looking side profile. Now, we do have also the camera systems here for that 360 degree. Now let's talk about keyless entry. So I do have the key in my pocket, and I'm gonna go ahead and put my hand and open, and it's not gonna open. And you do have a little button here that you have to press. It unlocks, and then you can go ahead and get this guy open. You can go ahead and close it and push the button, and it will lock it as well. Now let's try the back. No, not gonna happen, and it doesn't have a button for it either, which is a shame because with this being family vehicle, it would be nice to at least, at a minimum, have the button for me to unlock there. But yeah, you can just push that, go ahead and open, and really get in the back. So yeah, speaking about the back, let's go ahead and see what we have back there. We get to the back, and it's okay. It's not super wow, but we do have some great little design cues. Starting off with the taillights. The taillights do have a nice look to them. We do have a nice little spoiler on the top, which helps break up the line or adds more to the design line. But after that, I don't know, it just doesn't do much for me, especially when we have no exhaust cut out. I know it's a 4-cylinder, I know it's only one exhaust tip, but let's make that exhaust tip look great. And having those faux exhaust tips, yeah, doesn't work here. But let's take a look at what we have in the back. So if I go ahead and hold this on the key fob, we can open this up, and there is a ton of space back here. This is the big thing with this SUV, is that you have a bunch of space here when the third row is down. But it's really actually easy to get this guy up. You just go ahead and push that, and you still have an okay amount of space. Now, as far as the person sitting back there though, it's non-existent. It's non-existent with the legroom. There is literally no space. So the middle seat or the second row would literally need to be all the way forward in order for even a child to sit there. So honestly, get your pet in there. That's going to be the best thing. So go ahead and bring them in from the back, and then just get them in here and lift this up to close it. That's going to work that's going to be your best use for that seat. But honestly, it works really well, and it's really what you want to have in this SUV. The reason why is because the fact that this second row is a full bench gives you the option of putting a lot of groceries and not worrying about, you know, an emergency case where you brake, or if you brake too hard, that all the groceries end up in the front, which is what I hate with captain's chairs and 3-row seating. But yeah, this works really well. Well, let's go ahead and get this guy closed. Now, we don't have a remote start on the key fob. We do have it on the app. At the time of this filming, Mitsubishi offers 2 years of that app. No, I'd rather not have the app, and I'd rather have it on the key fob so I can get the car started. Especially now, today it's super windy, as you guys can tell, but the other day we were at 93 degrees and the car had been not used the whole day, and I wanted to cool the car down, and I had to go out, turn the car on, and it's that thing where like you kind of leave a car running with the key kind of thing. Yeah, don't like that. So Mitsubishi, please incorporate it into your key fob, and don't make us pay for a subscription. Well, let's go ahead and hop in and go for a ride. We get inside of the Outlander, and wow, this thing really surprised me. I was not expecting this at all, and yeah, it's really a good thing. So we get started on the door, and the door has this quilted pattern. It turns out it's synthetic leather, but believe it or not, it feels better than some leathers that I've felt on cars. It's really good, and it's got that, so it's a black synthetic leather with the what they call the saddle tan color stitching on it. It looks really good, and the armrest is that same saddle tan color as well. It is extremely comfortable. It's nice and soft. Like I said, I was so surprised by this. The power windows this has, yes, it has auto up and auto down. Yes, thank you. That is what you're supposed to have. Like, why is it so difficult, guys? But thank you, Mitsubishi, for doing that. And it's got a little like a dry carbon fiber pattern around it, which is a nice little touch to it. Then we get to the seats, and the seats are just so beautiful. And again, we have leather seating areas, or, you know, something along those lines. You know, semantics to not say, hey, they're fully leather, but they are beautiful. That is definitely it. And they are really soft. They are really comfortable, and they hold you firm. They still hold you firm though, and yeah, they just look really good. Again, black with that saddle tan stitching in the diamond pattern on it. They are heated, they are not cooled. I wish they were cooled, because that would really seal the deal for me as far as this car, or this CUV or SUV, really. But yeah, they are really nice, you know, and comfortable. No issues there. Was able to find my sweet spot with all the adjustability it has, so no complaints there. Then we get over to the steering wheel, and yeah, we're just going to talk about the superficial stuff of the steering wheel, because we're going to get back to the good stuff in the performance section. So as far as the feel, the physical feel, it's nice. It's got the like dimpled leather on it, and it feels really good. It, you know, it lets you grip it. It has the paddle shifters in the back. Haven't really needed to use it with this, but they are really, you know, really comfortable and really easy to reach. Now, the buttons in the front are really good as well. I do like, this is probably one of my favorite things about this wheel, is the volume button. So the volume button has an up and down button on the left side, and right underneath it, it has the left and right, meaning previous track, next track. Yes, this is the way you have to do it. And I don't even miss the fact that I don't have them in the back, because again, these are just set up so well for you to really raise the volume or lower it. The only thing that would be nice is if it had a mute button, which I don't believe it does. But yeah, that would have been a nice little touch to it. But either way, this is really good. I like the layout of it, and we have our cruise control options on the right, with the you know, your phone or command options on the right as well. Then we get to the gauge cluster, and it is an all digital gauge cluster. It looks really nice. I was super impressed with kind of the design of the gauges, and one of the things that I really like is that as the needle kind of moves through the RPMs or your speed, it actually goes ahead and starts filling up a little area in blue. So it is a nice little touch that it has that part going there.
Caution, unpaved road.
Yeah, unpaved road, we are aware. But yeah, we have some great controls here. There's tons of custom options that you can choose. Right now we have it in the super all-wheel control view to see power distribution, but we have tire pressure, we have obviously the navigation, the music, the blind spot for all the safety things, what they are, the settings for it, just everything. Your miles per gallon. I did like the fact that you do have your typical 2 trips stuff, but this 2 trips was a little bit different because each trip had like a whole setting of like not just like an average or your current, but it had both. It had your your current average, it had what you're actually doing right now, and how long you've been driving, your average speed, and a lot of information, which it was good. It was nice, especially when I tried to hypermile this. So it was a little fun to work with. But yeah, overall, it's a beautiful design. I do love the blue that it has there. You can, it's really pleasing to the eyes. And talking about pleasing to the eyes, we do have a heads-up display with this model, and it's good. It's good. No complaints really. It's sharp enough, it's bright enough, nothing super like whoa revolutionary to it, but it does do the job, which is nice. That's what you want it to do. And then we get over to the infotainment system, and the infotainment system, this is where, well, first of all, the screen is beautiful, nice and big, touchscreen, no issues with that, but their own kind of system itself, holy 1990s. Late 1990s. As soon as I saw this, it quickly reminded me of the movie The Net with Sandra Bullock. I'm probably dating myself, but yeah, where it was like all this like super high-tech stuff of basically identity theft. Yeah, but that's what this reminded me of, because it does look outdated, their system. So the solution, just stay in your Apple CarPlay. You're fine with that. Everything works great in Apple CarPlay. Wireless Apple CarPlay is great. No issues with connectivity there. So you're definitely gonna enjoy this. Again, just really, you're gonna want to stay in this system. Then we come down here a little bit, and just as design aspects, again, we have more of that saddle tan. This looks so nice, and it is premium. You could tell this is really, really premium material. I don't know if this is fake or not, but either way, it's high-end. It's really, really high-end feeling material. We get a little bit lower. We have the AC controls, really nice. Nothing to really complain about here. Very simple, very straightforward. We do have 3-zone AC controls. We do have obviously driver, passenger, and the back seat as well, and we can all control it from right in here, which is nice. It's a nice little touch for you to be able to make sure everyone's cool or warm as needed. We come down a little bit, and we have our USB connections and the wireless charger. Yes, this has a wireless charger. Thank you. Except it's really bad. So that's why I'm having to lug around my massive cable that I decided to buy a massive cable from Amazon. But yeah, it's really bad. Like literally, I was standing in my driveway and I positioned it and it works fine. I literally put it into drive. Don't even move, not a single inch, just put it in drive. And that small movement that, automatic transmissions do was enough to offset it and not want it to charge. I tried it with the case, without my case, and it was still not where I want it to be, because it is a flat panel. It's not angled. It's it's not giving you an angle to kind of put the pressure, the weight of it, or sit it right. It just wasn't doing that. So I was a little disappointed with that. we come back a little bit more and we have the shifter. The shifter is really nice. It's really like kind of like, I don't know, it's just really like it fits really well in my hand. Then to the right we have our electronic parking brake and our auto hold. I've tried diving into the menus to see if I can permanently put auto hold because it's really good in this, but I can't seem to find it. And then we come over to the left a little bit more and we have our drive modes. So we have our eco, normal, tarmac, gravel, snow, and mud. Yeah, we'll go ahead and switch it, and it's got a good feel to it. It's got a little bit of a wobble when it's kind of like you know, you're about to move it, but when it actually changes, it's got a good feel to it, which is good. Then we come back to the cup holders, and yeah, the cup holders are okay. Just got to watch out. The armrest does kind of come out a little bit, so it can, if you're getting like a bigger cup, it can actually hit that and not be nice and secure in there. Then when we come back to the armrest, there's a good amount of space, nothing too big. The armrest is nice and comfortable. Again, back to that premium feeling material. Again, not sure if it's leather or synthetic leather, but it's good. That's the important thing. And it is in that saddle tan color, which, yeah, I just love. It looks really, really good. But yeah, it's super comfortable, perfectly placed, and the plushiness of it rates really well. Then we get to the back seat, or the middle seat in this case, but right now it's actually the back seat. And this is what I love about this CUV or SUV. I'll consider it an SUV because it's definitely the size of an SUV. This is really good. Reason why is because this is a 3-row SUV. And with it being a 3-row SUV, the biggest thing I hate is when you get captain's chairs and the 3rd row causes the trunk area to be really small. So to the point where you're now having to really like have the 3rd row down, and now because you have the captain's chair, yeah, you're losing out on that middle seat, but not with this. Oh, and the other thing I hate when we have those 3-row SUVs is the fact with the captain's chairs is the fact that if you get any groceries, you put it in the back, and they, you know, in case of any movement, groceries will come through the front. Not with this. So we do have that full bench in the back, and it can fold down, it can move, you know, you can bring things down on, you know, the split of it. I love it. I love it because I don't get rid of that 3rd row, that 3rd seat in the middle, and it's really comfortable back there. And again, we have those great materials, we have those great looking seats back there, and it really is nice. Plenty of space. And then we get to the 3rd row, which is virtually useless. Yes, there is virtually no space in the 3rd row unless the 2nd row is really pushed forward. So don't expect to, yeah, hey, oh wow, yeah, you know, you have tons of, you know, 3rd row.
Unpaved road.
Yes, I know I'm on unpaved road, yet it's paved. But yeah, don't expect a ton of space or really any use for it. Honestly, I am happy that this has the 3rd row that folds down and that bench in the middle, because that's how it's going to be 99.9% of the time. I really can't fit anyone back there. Ooh, a dog. Dogs would be great back there. Yes, so I take it back. Dogs would be great because they are not going to fall down into kind of like the floor area, so to speak. So yes, actually, I take that back. This is great for pets on that 3rd row, because now you have the whole family. Just be sure that obviously they're not dogs that like to lick, because they are going to go through and want to lick your passengers in the 2nd row. But yes, definitely for pets, it is perfect. I take that back. So yeah, for my doggo, he's definitely going to be in that 3rd row because he doesn't need leg room. He's got the whole bench for him to use his legs on. And then we get to the trunk area, and the trunk area was big. Even though, you know, with seats up, there was still a good amount of space. It wasn't too bad. And then obviously when you put the seats down, it is even, you know, a massive space there. So it's definitely a great SUV. It's an SUV, but it's such a small but yet spacious SUV. Yeah. Now let's talk performance. We're dealing with the 2.5 liter inline 4, cranking out 181 horsepower and 181 pound-feet of torque. It is connected to their 8-speed CVT automatic transmission, and then to the s-awc, or their super all-wheel control system. So yeah, let's go ahead and go from a stop with this, and let me tell you, there's really not much performance to this. So yeah, it's not, don't expect super performance or wow, you know, this is surprisingly fast. It is not. So 181 horsepower is not that much, especially for a big SUV like this. Where this excels though is definitely the feel of the steering wheel, and well, especially off the line as well, the power isn't that great. So the steering wheel feel though is spectacular. It feels really good, and it's an electronic steering as well, which is surprising because typically they don't have any feel, right? But not with this. This feels really, really good. The suspension, dear God, this thing is extremely good. We've been kind of driving on this like really bumpy road, and let me tell you, it is extremely smooth. The suspension is dialed in so well in this. It's definitely one of my favorites. You know, SUVs are really vehicles that I've driven because it's so comfortable in handling the road. It really is. It's surprisingly good. The brakes, again, are really, really good. No complaints there. What's weird is I thought this was turbocharged. That's how kind of the power band is. So it is a really rev happy engine. And the 8 speeds of the CVT, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think that's definitely what's holding this back. Obviously for fuel economy reasons, they have CVTs, but really off the line, it's gonna suffer. If they had a CVT like Toyota does for the Corolla, where that first gear is an actual gear, then I think this would be great, because at that point it can, you know, take off with that actual gear and then use the advantage of the CVT where it excels, which is in the mid to high range of speed, really, to get those great MPGs. But yeah, this has been really great with the suspension. Again, I mean, I'm going on some pretty gnarly kind of thing. Now that s-awc, yeah, we're gonna have to put that to the test. And I've seen some videos where I would have liked the kind of locking action to happen a little bit more, but it is what it is. Now I'm gonna go ahead and switch over to Tarmac, which I think is like their sport mode, and yeah, it's a little bit peppier with the power delivery. But overall, yeah, this has been really good, and I was really impressed with the powertrain. Let's go ahead and catch that unpaved road and see what this s-awc can do. So we're about to enter the unpaved area, or that unpaved road that I like to, you know, take these SUVs with the all-wheel drive. In this case, all-wheel control. Just a fancy name, really. So I'm gonna go ahead and switch my mode over to gravel, and that's it. That's all I gotta really do. There's no other things. It's all basically the computer controlling the power and the distribution and everything. And I'm gonna have it in the s-awc view, where I can see where my power is being distributed. What's great about this is it's actually, no matter what mode I've had it in, the power has been pretty good at being distributed, both, you know, the front and the back, according to that meter. Again, fairly evenly, 50-50. Now, the other thing, you'll see kind of these like arrows like that. It's basically to show the rotation of the vehicle, or you turning. If you're aggressive, it will start to kind of fill those up a little bit, basically telling you it's helping you move a little bit more in that direction. But yeah, that's again with this, the suspension, and we're hitting some of the bigger kind of unpaved aspects of it, or bumpy areas, and this thing is really good at absorbing those small ones as well. That feels so good, and I can, you know, really take it on the parts, literally aiming for the unpaved areas. But this feels really good, and just the handling, the steering wheel of this is really good. It's surprisingly good. Yeah, I mean, it's a breeze. In other off-road SUVs or even off-road vehicles, really, this would have felt not the best. And once we start getting over these kind of hilly areas as well, it's so smooth. That's the thing that is really surprising about this Outlander. I was so surprised at how good it feels and it handles. Now I'm gonna go ahead and switch it down to manual mode. Now manual mode really isn't gonna do anything other than not shift down. So it's really, because it is going to shift up, and I mean shift, it's, again, it is a CVT. I am glad though that it's not the traditional CVT, in the sense that it just kind of holds that RPM, which can be really, really annoying to kind of listen to if you're wanting to pass them on the highway. Okay, so here we go. We're about to yeah, so if you really kind of chuck it, it really is going to show you the like I said, those little arrows around. But yeah, this feels really good, and the brakes feel really good as well. I'm surprised at how amazing this thing can handle. Now, I don't understand Mitsubishi. This is such a great setup. It really is. It handles great. It is so quiet as well. The inside is really quiet. The power, yes, it needs more. It definitely needs more. But what I'm talking about is you have this feel. It's that feel that I say, it may not be the most overpowered, you know, crazy powered car. It may not have, you know, the fastest times. It may not have the most spacious amount. It may not do something really, really well, but it does a lot of things good. Actually, this does a lot of things well. It really does. And the other thing as well is it has feel. You can't really put that in a, you can't just option that really in a vehicle, and that's what this has. I've been super surprised with this. It has that feel, that Miata feel, that GR86 feel, that BMW M2 feel. Like it's one of those, again, that that Toyota Tacoma feel, that things don't make sense of, like, why would you, yeah, it's not the best at anything, but it's really good at a lot of things, and that's what this really is. It surprised me. This is really a top contender. Now, what else would I consider other than this? The GMC Terrain AT4, that was great, but this felt a little bit bigger, and it felt a little bit feeling. There was more feel to this, and I was surprised at how good this is. Yeah, I'm impressed.
Caution, unpaved road.
Oh, I know I'm on unpaved roads. But that's the thing. Like, you have to, Mitsubishi, you guys have to come out with a Lancer, but embody this feeling in it. In a small, have two versions like you've always had. The Lancer and then the Evolution. Have the smaller compact version, you know, that I remember in the 90s really loving, you know, the Mirage that we had in the US compared to Lancer, everyone else, and then the Evolution versions. Yeah, let's get a turbo 4 cranked out in this. Well, guys, I hope you've enjoyed my review of the Outlander, and remember, find the right gear, even though it's a CVT. See ya.